Cost
So
of living is being a real big factor right now. And that's putting a lot of pressure on everything, especially with interest rates going up now too.
that's true. So when it comes to that, what are some strategies that people can do to kind of mitigate or lessen the effect of the inflation? Because when you're talking about precious metals, it's really okay, you buy it, you hold it, but the amount of time you hold it doesn't help when it comes to inflation when it's happening like right now. So
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
would you
that's a good
recommend?
question. And that's one of the knocks that people will have against holding precious metals as well. It's not producing a return, but um, actually, since the turn of the century, since 2000, gold has actually outperformed the S&P 500, which people don't really realize. I think it's averaged 9.9%, and the S&P's done 9.5%. So in real terms, it is holding its value. It is going up in value, but like you said, you'd have to liquidate it to realize that return, right? Um, One of
But in
the
the
terms
same
that
sense,
I've heard
in the same
recent,
sense, when you're buying stocks, that
it's
unless
the
they're
same
giving you
thing.
dividends, then you're still just holding on to paper stocks until it liquidates, right? So in a sense, it's kind of the same,
Yep.
whether you're holding gold or holding stocks. But anyways, just thought I kind of mention that.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why I like to emphasize that is that it's not really much different as far as assets go. It's just a different asset class. But I think the important thing in the age that we're in the times that we're facing, I think one, if you don't hold it, do you really own it? So stocks, mutual funds, that kind of stuff is really digits on a screen somewhere. And one thing that we all learned a few years ago with the enactment of the Emergencies Act here in Canada is that everybody's bank account was prone to being frozen, which we joke in the office that we need to send Mr. Trudeau and Miss Freeland a Christmas card because they 10x'd our business by doing that. Everybody very quickly realized that what we had been saying for a decade, that our financial system is on thin ice, and your currency sitting in a bank account is at risk. People learn that lesson the hard way, unfortunately, and very quickly realize the value in having something in hand. So that's one piece of it. Another thing that you hear all the time is return on investment. Everybody's concerned about the return on their investment. I would emphasize at this point, maybe what's more important is return of your investment. Are you going to get anything back in the end? So I spoke with a lady yesterday, actually, just retired. She has a nice nest egg, not wealthy by any stretch, but she's got money set aside in the typical vehicles that Canadians use in RRSPs and mutual funds and that sort of thing. But she's scared. She doesn't have any faith that it'll be there for her to use in the coming years. So one of the things we can do, and we're doing a lot of, is that we can help people protect their RRSPs with physical metals. So instead of digits on a screen somewhere, it's physical bricks of gold and silver sitting in a Brinks vault.
Hmm.
And so that program is really popular right now because with with the stock market at an all-time high, people at retirement age are not in a position to recover from a major correction.
Right. So in that scenario, people are using RSP funds and having it anchored to gold and silver.
Yeah, it's a unique program here in Canada. I think we're one of two companies that offer it, but we physically take wherever your assets are now. We move those funds into a self-directed RSP, and then we acquire physical gold and silver with it. So you're not buying the ETF, SLV, or GLD. You own physical metals. It's in your name. It's not pooled with anybody else's funds. It's your metal in your name in a box in a vault at Brinks. So it's tangible,
Mhm. So
and
in
that's
that
why people like it.
so in that scenario, people still gets the benefit of deferring their taxes until later.
Yeah, so you're not collapsing the RSP. You're still holding on to the RSP, so there's no tax consequence of moving from where they are to physical metals, which is really nice. That's why people like it, is because I'm not a big fan of government programs because their hand's always in your cookie jar. But nearly everybody has one. And so this program is a better option, if you will. You know, you're moving out of an asset class at an all-time high into an asset class that has potential, you know, at historic lows. And it's a physical asset. So